She stopped explaining herself. She stopped reacting. She stopped entertaining nonsense. Why? Because silence isn't weakness, it's evolution. The moment you stop giving people the reaction they crave, you take your power back. And when you act like nothing bothers you, trust me, the world starts wondering who you really are. This isn't about pretending. It's about protecting your peace. You owe no one your chaos. Be silent. Be still. Be unbothered. That's when they start to respect you or fear you. They think your silence is weakness, but it's not. It's precision. It's discipline. It's the difference between a queen and a common girl. When you stop reacting, you stop giving others the power to control your emotions. And that's when you become untouchable. Silence is your strategy, not your surrender. It's the quiet roar of a woman who knows exactly who she is and where she's going. Look around you. People in chaos always scream the loudest. But the one who's silent, calm, and collected, she terrifies them. Why? Because she's not seeking validation. She's not desperate for attention. She's not dancing to the beat of anyone else's noise. She's operating on a frequency above it. Think of the woman in the office who doesn't involve herself in gossip, who doesn't defend herself when people whisper behind her back. What happens? Eventually those whispers fade. Why? Because her silence spoke louder than any explanation ever could. She didn't waste her words because she knew her work, her presence, and her energy already did the talking. People only push your buttons when they know you'll explode. But when you stop reacting, when you sit back with a straight spine and a soft smile, you confuse them. They don't know if they hurt you, if you didn't care, or if you're planning something bigger. That's power. That's presence. Silence in that moment becomes your shield and your sword. Think about arguments in relationships. He says something to provoke you. He expects yelling, drama, tears, but you stay still. You simply walk away or respond with silence. That's when his mind spirals. That's when he realizes you're not like the rest. Your silence wasn't defeat. It was dignity. That's the power of not giving people the emotional reaction they were hunting for. That's strategy. That's how a woman protects her power. You know what's louder than screaming? Living well. You know what silences critics faster than arguing? Winning. And the fastest way to win is to conserve your energy. Use it to level up, not to fight pointless battles. Your silence is you saying, I'm not wasting my greatness on your nonsense. That's not surrender. That's mastery. Even in friendships, someone betrays you, lies about you, tries to bring you down. You could respond. You could tell the world your side. But why? Why feed the flames when you can rise above the fire? Your silence is the moment you choose peace over petty. It's the moment you choose growth over gossip. It's you saying, I've got better things to do than shrink myself just to be understood. And when you choose silence, the world starts leaning in to listen. They wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, why you're not shaking like they expected. That mystery becomes your power. Real queens don't compete, they create. They don't cry for the spotlight, they become the sun. And the sun doesn't make noise, it just rises. That's what silence is. It's your rise. It's your elevation. It's your quiet reminder to the world that you are beyond their chaos, beyond their games, beyond their drama, every insult. And that's exactly what makes a woman unshakably attractive. There's something magnetic about a woman who doesn't flinch when chaos walks in. She doesn't argue to prove a point. She doesn't cry to get attention. And she doesn't play emotional games to be loved. She carries herself like her peace is non-negotiable. That's the kind of woman who enters a room and shifts the atmosphere. Not with words, but with presence. Think about it. When someone tries to push your buttons and gets no reaction, what happens? They lose control. And you gain all of it. That's not being heartless, that's being powerful. In a world where everyone is emotionally triggered by likes, messages, opinions, and temporary love, being emotionally untouchable is revolutionary. It's what separates a woman who begs to be chosen from a woman who chooses herself. Imagine a woman in a relationship where her partner is inconsistent. One day loving, the next distant. Most people would spiral, question themselves, lose sleep. But not her. She doesn't chase clarity from confusion. She doesn't argue with uncertainty. She observes, she listens, and then she withdraws. Not to manipulate, but to protect her mind. That woman, she becomes unforgettable. Because she didn't break. She didn't beg, she simply became unavailable to emotional games. There's beauty in unpredictability, but only when it comes from self-respect, not trauma. The woman who is emotionally grounded knows her triggers and tames them. She understands that not everything deserves a reaction. When someone insults her, she doesn't clap back. She rises higher. When someone ghosts her, she doesn't chase. She disappears too, but gracefully, with elegance. And when she walks away, she leaves behind a silence so loud, it echoes in their mind. Even in friendships, someone gets jealous, acts distant, starts throwing shade. Most people would chase answers. Not her. She lets people exit quietly. She doesn't announce her boundaries. She simply lives by them. And that self-control becomes her crown. It turns her into a woman who is respected. Not because she demands it, but because she earns it without saying a word. Being emotionally untouchable isn't about being indifferent. It's about choosing your reactions like you choose your clothes, with intention. It's about knowing that your peace is too expensive to be spent on cheap conversations. It's not that you don't feel, it's that you've learned the hard way that not every emotion deserves a stage. Picture a boss lady in a meeting. A man tries to talk over her, tries to discredit her ideas. Instead of raising her voice, she raises her standards. She lets her results speak. She doesn't argue, she leads. And that leadership is attractive because while everyone else is busy proving their worth, she's out there living it. That's the real flex. In a time where emotional instability is romanticized as passion, a woman who is calm, clear, and emotionally consistent is a breath of fresh air. She doesn't just attract attention, she commands it. Not through drama, but through grace. Not by being loud, but by being unshakably still. People start wondering, what is she made of? Because storms hit her, but she never folds. She never begs. She never loses her center. And that kind of woman becomes a standard no one forgets. Energy is your real currency. Not money, not beauty, not attention. Energy. And the truth is, most people spend it like they have an unlimited supply. But a smart woman, a growing woman, a woman who is leveling up, she knows better. She doesn't pour her energy into dead conversations, toxic relationships, or pointless drama. She knows energy is expensive, and she only spends it where it grows her. Think about how you feel after being around certain people. Some drain you, like emotional leeches, always needing, always complaining, always taking. Others uplift you, challenge you, make you feel unstoppable. The difference? One costs you energy, the other multiplies it. You have to start asking, is this situation growing me or slowly killing my spirit? A woman who understands this doesn't argue to win. She doesn't explain herself to people, committed to misunderstanding her. She's not available for chaos. Why? Because she's building something. Her dream, her peace, her power. And she knows she can't build while constantly being distracted by noise that doesn't matter. Imagine a girl who used to text paragraphs to someone who kept ignoring her, always trying to prove her worth. She'd lose sleep, overthink, cry into pillows, and still hope for a reply. But one day, she woke up and realized, this is expensive. Not in money, in mind, in time, in spirit. So she stopped. She withdrew her energy, like a queen closing the gates to her castle. She didn't block, she didn't beg. She just moved differently. And the moment she did that, her glow returned. Her smile came back. Because where she used to spend energy trying to fix someone, she now spent it building herself. And that's the shift. You only have 100% to give every day. If 80% is spent overthinking, defending your choices, or babysitting someone's insecurities, what's left for your own vision? Your goals don't grow on survival energy. They grow on focus, on intention, on peace. That's why protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's sacred. Even in your work life, ever notice how being in a toxic job drains you more than the actual tasks? That's not the job, that's the energy. Constant competition, unspoken tension, micromanagement, it eats away at your spirit. But when you move into a space where your voice is heard, where your ideas matter, suddenly you work 10 times harder and feel lighter doing it. Why? Because growth doesn't feel like exhaustion. It feels like elevation. There's also the invisible energy you give away every time you say yes when your soul says no. Going to places you don't want to go, being around people you've outgrown, doing things just to be liked. It costs you more than you know. Every yes that doesn't align with your spirit is a silent betrayal to yourself. But when you say no, when you reclaim your time, your power, your focus, your whole life starts to align. Even scrolling on social media, hours spent comparing yourself, absorbing negativity, watching other people live instead of living your own truth. That's energy leaking. And you wonder why you're tired? It's because your soul is overstimulated with things that don't feed it. A woman on a mission starts choosing different. She doesn't scroll mindlessly. She learns intentionally. She doesn't watch drama. She reads growth. She doesn't envy. She evolves. The most powerful move a woman can make isn't shouting, begging, or proving a point. It's the elegant exit. When she realizes a place, a person, or a situation no longer deserves her energy, she doesn't explode. She doesn't create a scene. She simply leaves, softly, gracefully, and without the need for validation. That is not weakness. That is mastery. Elegance in exit is not about pride. It's about power. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you don't need to convince anyone of it. You don't stay to argue. You don't stay to be understood. You leave. Not because you're losing, but because you know staying is more expensive than walking away. That's emotional intelligence at its peak. Take the example of a woman in a relationship where love turned into routine and appreciation faded into entitlement. Every conversation became a negotiation for respect. But instead of demanding what should have been freely given, she made a silent decision. One morning, she got up, made coffee like always, But this time, she packed her things and walked away with no drama, no message, no final goodbye. Just silence. That silence, it echoed louder than 1,000 words. Because it wasn't fueled by anger, it was fueled by dignity. The art of the elegant exit applies everywhere. At work, when you realize your talent is being overlooked, when your brilliance is being minimized, you don't curse the company. You don't get bitter. You get better. You upgrade. You start planning your next move. Quietly. You leave that job with your head high, performance intact and your smile untouched. You don't burn bridges. You rise so high that those bridges look like dots beneath you. Even in friendships, it's the same. When the laughter fades and the support turns into competition, when conversations start feeling like interrogations, not inspiration, you don't clap back. You stop sharing your secrets, your spirit, your softness. You don't announce your departure. You become less available until one day they realize they've lost access to a woman who only ever gave love without conditions. That realization hits harder than any confrontation. The elegant exit is a silent revolution. It's when you stop arguing with people who thrive on chaos. It's when you stop showing up where you are tolerated, not celebrated. It's when you stop explaining your soul to people committed to misunderstanding it. And the beauty? No one sees it coming. Because grace doesn't need an audience. It performs best in silence. There was a girl who used to post cryptic stories, fight in comments, argue in public with her ex just to prove a point. She was loud in her pain. But then life humbled her, healed her, elevated her. Now, you'll never see her fight. You'll only see her flourish. She learned that real power is in detachment. The moment she chose her peace over proving her point, she became dangerous. Because no one could pull her back into the storm she had outgrown. An elegant exit isn't running away. It's choosing freedom over familiarity. It's the decision to no longer bleed for people who wouldn't bandage you. It's realizing that you can be soft and still say goodbye. You can be kind and still outgrow people. You can be loyal and still leave when loyalty is no longer mutual. The world teaches women to fight, to scream, to stay until there's nothing left. But the most high-value women are learning the opposite. To protect their space, preserve their softness, and lead with class. Not to make a statement, but because peace doesn't require permission. And sometimes, the most unforgettable thing you can do is to quietly disappear from where you are no longer seen, heard, or loved. There's something terrifying about a woman who doesn't scream, doesn't beg, doesn't argue, just goes quiet. Not because she has nothing to say, but because she's done trying to make noise for people who were never listening. Silence, when it comes from self-respect, is louder than rage. And when you master that silence, you no longer lose control. You gain it. Think of a moment when someone tried to push you into a reaction. Maybe they, you made a mistake. You had no idea. You had no preamble. You had no setup. You had no preamble. You made a mistake. 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 You made a disrespected you publicly. Maybe they twisted your words, tried to humiliate you, thought they could reduce you with a single insult. The old you would have snapped, shouted, maybe even cried. But the evolved you just looked at them, calm, collected, still. That moment of silence, it shook them more than your anger ever could. Because they expected war, and you gave them a mirror. A woman who reacts has been triggered, but a woman who observes, who pauses, who meets chaos with stillness, that's a woman who terrifies the room. Because silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It forces people to sit with their own noise. It gives them space to hear the echo of their own disrespect. And sometimes, that echo is louder than anything you could have said. Imagine a girl in a toxic relationship, constantly blamed, accused, gaslighted. Every time, she'd fight to explain, to prove, to fix what she didn't even break. Until one day, she stopped. He threw accusations and she didn't defend. He raised his voice and she raised her silence. No more tears, no more explanations, just presence. Calm, powerful, detached. That silence, it drove him mad. Because for the first time, he wasn't in control of her emotions. She was. Even in the workplace, when someone tries to steal your credit or undermine your confidence, don't run to defend your worth. Let your results speak. Let your consistency speak. Let your silence echo. Because when you say nothing but deliver everything, people start respecting your presence differently. They know you don't play in the mud. They know you build kingdoms while others throw stones. Silence is not just the absence of noise. It's the presence of power. When someone gossips about you and you don't respond, you rise. When they try to provoke you and you walk away with a smile, you win. When they expect you to collapse under pressure and you bloom instead, that's the kind of shock silence delivers. There was a girl who used to argue on social media with strangers over opinions that didn't even matter. She wasted hours trying to be right. Then one day she realized, this isn't power, this is performance. And she chose silence. She deleted, muted, disappeared. People noticed. What happened to her, they asked. She didn't respond. But her glow, that answered everything. Even with family, when your boundaries are disrespected, when your worth is questioned, you don't have to shout, you don't have to rebel with fire. You rebel with calm. You distance yourself. You show them how serious you are by how little access they now have. No screaming, no long speeches. This distance and that silence becomes your new language. The loudest women in the room are not always the most powerful. The woman who walks away mid-argument because she refuses to fight ugly. The woman who doesn't clap back but levels up in silence. The woman who chooses peace over being right. She becomes unforgettable. Because she knows that her silence doesn't mean defeat. It means elevation. And that elevation shakes those who expected her to crumble. Your peace is no longer a soft thing you sacrifice. It's a crown you wear, boldly and unapologetically. In a world where noise is constant, where opinions come at you like bullets, where everyone's fighting to be heard louder than the next, your ability to stay calm, stay centered, and protect your inner world is the highest form of power. Peace is no longer a bonus. It's the new luxury. And not everyone can afford it. People think wealth is a number in a bank account. No. Wealth is being able to sleep at night with no guilt on your chest. It's waking up and not having to entertain people who drain you. It's saying no to chaos, drama, and fake friendships without needing to explain yourself. The true rich are not the loud ones. They are the ones whose hearts are quiet and whose boundaries are solid. Imagine a woman who used to jump into every fight, defend herself in every room, please everyone so no one would be disappointed. She was loud. She was always drained. Then one day, she stopped. She didn't change who she was. She changed what she allowed. She started choosing peace over performance. Now, she doesn't attend every argument she's invited to. She doesn't reply to every message. She doesn't show up just to keep appearances. And that peace she created, it made her glow differently. People noticed. Not because she was everywhere, but because she was exactly where her soul was safe. Peace isn't passive. It's a decision. It's choosing silence over unnecessary noise. It's declining invites that don't align with your energy. It's walking away mid-conversation when someone is trying to manipulate you. It's ending the call, logging off, going home, staying in, not because you're running, but because you're protecting what's sacred. That sacred thing, your peace. A woman once had everything: beauty, success, attention. But she was still anxious, still chasing, still hungry for validation. Why? Because she never had peace. She lived on edge, always reacting, always proving, until she realized, if I don't protect my peace, no one will. So she began detoxing her life. She left a man who loved chaos. She distanced herself from friends who only came around when they needed something. She turned off notifications. She journaled. She healed. Now, when people see her, they call it mystery. But it's not mystery. It's maturity. It's peace. Peace is saying, I don't care if they misunderstood me. I understand myself. It's saying, I'm not available for gossip. I'm busy growing. It's unfollowing what triggers you. It's choosing solitude over shallow company. It's not replying when they try to bait you. It's seeing the fire and walking the other way. Not because you're scared, but because you know your energy deserves better. Even in your workplace, your peace is your compass. You'll reach a point where you'd rather earn a little less in an environment that respects your mind than make six figures drowning in toxicity. Because you realize money can't buy mornings without anxiety. A title can't replace peace of mind. The glow up isn't in the hustle. It's in the harmony. Peace is power. It's when you stop trying to fix broken people. It's when you stop entertaining what doesn't honor you. It's when you don't need chaos to feel alive anymore. You don't chase, you attract. You don't force, you flow. You don't beg, you receive. That shift, when peace becomes your priority, is when your real life begins. Everyone talks about glow-ups like it's about beauty or status. But the most stunning glow-up is when your heart is unbothered, your mind is still, your soul is soft, and your life, free from the noise that once defined you. Peace is the new luxury. And you, Queen, are its richest carrier. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to prove your worth to people who can't even see their own value. And you surely don't need to explain your silence to the noisemakers of this world. Because when a woman becomes silent, not out of fear, but out of self-mastery, she becomes unforgettable. The world watches her, not because she's loud, but because her silence carries the weight of 10,000 untold truths. Some people will wonder why you no longer argue, why you no longer chase, why you no longer beg for attention, approval, or love. Let them wonder. That mystery, that glow, that calm in your eyes, that is your evolution, speaking louder than any words ever could. Because a powerful woman doesn't announce her growth. She simply outgrows everything that doesn't feel like peace. You are not cold, you are not distant. You are focused, you are healing, you are reclaiming. And that peace you carry now, that silence, it is not weakness. It is the reward of everything you survived. It is a garden that bloomed after the storm broke you open. You didn't lose yourself. You found the version of you that doesn't beg to be loved, seen, or chosen. She simply is. And that is more than enough. So from this moment on, protect your peace like it's your last breath. Guard it with the same intensity you used to guard other people's feelings while you neglected your own. Because your peace is your power. Your silence is your sword. And your energy is your currency. Spend it only where it grows, never where it's wasted. You're not meant to be available to everyone. Not everyone deserves access to your spirit. Some people should only know you through memories. Some circles must be left behind. Not with hate, not with anger, but with silence. You don't owe anyone your chaos. You owe yourself your calm. Because when you move in silence, you don't just escape the noise. You rise above it. There's something iconic about a woman who doesn't need revenge, who doesn't fight dirty, who doesn't expose. She just lives well. She just gets better. She just glows up so hard that the ones who try to dim her light can't even look her in the eyes anymore. That's your level now. Not petty, powerful. They thought you'd explode, didn't they? They thought you'd lose it, scream, maybe fall apart. But instead, you paused. You smiled. You walked away with your dignity wrapped around you like silk. And that moment, that was your becoming. Because the greatest clapback is success done in silence. It's healing without an audience. It's loving yourself so loud that no insult can echo louder than your inner peace. Darling, the world doesn't need another noisemaker. It needs more women who know how to hold space for their own peace. Women who choose elegance over ego, grace over games, silence over chaos. So wear your silence like a crown. Let your absence speak volumes where your presence was once undervalued. You are no longer a woman who entertains confusion. You are clarity. You are no longer the girl who waits for closure. You give it to yourself. You don't chase love. You become it. You don't break down to prove a point. You rise in silence to make one. Because queens don't compete with noise. They build empires in the stillness. And when the world finally notices, it's already too late to catch up. Remember this. A lion doesn't turn around when a small dog barks. Let them bark. You, my dear, walk on. Majestic, magnetic, untouchable. As Maya Angelou said, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. That's the kind of power your silence holds now. You are not alone. You are aligned. And when you are aligned with your peace, no storm, no person, no past, no pain can shake your foundation. So walk out of the noise like a goddess returning to her throne, silent, powerful, unshakable, untouchable, and absolutely unforgettable.